Yep, so 11:28 time. Let's go. Jesus Christ, these chapter numbers are getting so fucking massive. I don't know where the time is gone. But anyway, so in the spoilers of this chapter, they were pretty fucking bad. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And, but now that I got the actual real thing on my hands, my opinion has changed quite a bit. So let's just start off the beginning here. My boy Usopp gets somewhat of a spotlight, which I absolutely fucking adore. Obviously, it's not a good way, like, he wasn't, like, getting dick rode or anything like he deserves. Luffy and Zoro are kind of shitting on him here a little bit, but I love the fact that this happened. Like, it's definitely foreshadowing without a doubt. There's no way Oda just put this in and Usopp doesn't do anything for the rest of the arc, alright, right? There's no fucking way. But anyway, this guy pulls up on a fucking grasshopper. He thinks he's a Black Myth Wukong or some shit. He tells us that there's a shit ton of gods here, including the fucking sun god, which, I mean, we got the sun god with us. He's the captain of our crew, but they're not talking about Luffy here. And I love the interaction that the crew had with this fucking guy. I don't know what it is. It just reminds me of pre-timeskip. Everybody's doing their own little goofy shit. I love it. Okay, I love this little shit right here. But anyway, Luffy runs off to the sun god's temple and it turns out to be a big-ass mirror. Like, he runs into it and they break through and Chopper is in that bitch. Who would have thought? Chopper was supposedly with this group since he wasn't with the other half of the Straw Hats, but he was just kind of like not in last chapter, so it's like, where's Chopper? But here he is, all chained up on a table, being the liability that he usually is. All hell breaks loose in this little room, and fucking snakes pop out of nowhere, and we get a little glimpse of this sun god poser, and they have this deer skeleton head, and I gotta admit, they look fucking insane. Actually, now that I look a little bit closer, I think it's a moose, because, you know, the antlers or whatever are different. But it looks like some shit straight out of Bloodborne. I gotta say, the fit goes hard, and apparently we have seen this individual before, at least someone who had this moose skeleton head before, back in the Kuma flashback on God Valley. One of the God's Knights back then had the moose skeleton head. So if I had to guess, this is like a God's Knight that maybe got kicked out of Marriagewa, or possibly left like Dofi's parents, or maybe they just straight up are still super high status celestial dragons, who knows, because they gotta be old as fuck, because what was it, God Valley happened like 38 years ago, damn near 40 years ago now. They gotta be old, okay? They gotta be at least 60 or 70 years old. But they open the door, and shit is just fucking AIDS in this goddamn room. Shit's on fire. Luffy's in Gear 5. And then the final panel, we get a big view of the sun god. And they appear to be a motherfucking giant. So, are we in Elbaf? I don't really fucking know. The crew doesn't know. We're just kind of out here. And it seems that the hallucination theories aren't really holding up super well in this chapter. I was really convinced that everything that happened in the last chapter wasn't real, but it seemed that it was. As odd as that is, maybe all of the shit that happened last chapter was just an error or a weird coincidence. I don't know. Maybe Oda wants us to think that. I don't know. But, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. So, no break next week, and I believe no break for next chapter. So I think we're getting 3 chapters in a row. So I'll be back.